At the base of Mount Fuji, where black volcanic stone breathes cold even in summer, there is a forest where sound is swallowed whole. Wind moves without direction. Birds stop singing without warning. Footsteps fade as if the ground itself is listening. This place is called Aokigahara, and something lives here. Welcome to Rabbit Hole Nightmare. Aokigahara, the Sea of Trees. The first lie people tell themselves is that the forest does not kill. But it's not that simple. The presence here doesn't hunt. It doesn't chase. It doesn't need to. It waits. This forest was born from fire. In the year 864, Mount Fuji split itself open and bled lava across the land. Villages vanished beneath molten rock. Screams were erased by heat and ash. When the mountain finally slept again, what remained was hollow stone, fractured, porous, and unfinished. Centuries passed. Trees grew where nothing should have grown. Their roots twisted through empty spaces beneath the earth, never touching solid ground. Caves formed below, lightless chambers where the cold never leaves. And that is where it began. Not as a creature, as an echo. Something stayed behind when the fire ended. Something shaped by abandonment. Something that learned the language of silence. The locals never gave it a name. They only warned their children not to wander too deep into the woods. Long before modern times, people believed forests like this were thin places, where the world of the living pressed too close to somewhere else. It was said that spirits gathered where grief accumulated, that souls who did not move on lingered, confused, and unfinished. But this presence was different. It did not drift. It waited. As Japan changed, as cities grew louder and lives became heavier, people started arriving at Aokigahara, carrying things they could not say out loud. Shame, failure, a loneliness so dense it pressed against their ribs. The presence felt them long before it ever saw them. It doesn't speak in words. It doesn't show itself. It communicates through sensation. A slowing of your breath, a softening of resistance, a feeling of being understood without needing to explain anything. Those who enter the forest alone often describe the same experience. Time begins to slip away. Their thoughts quiet down, their emotions dull until only one remains: relief. That is how it feeds, not on bodies, on surrender. The presence never pushes. It never commands. It simply removes the friction from life. It makes the forest feel safe. It makes stopping feel reasonable. It makes disappearing feel natural. Every year, search parties walk these woods. They follow the ribbons tied to branches, markers left behind by people who feared losing themselves too quickly. Sometimes the tape leads nowhere. Other times, it ends abruptly, as if the person simply stopped needing any guidance. Volunteers who search these areas report spots where the air feels thick, where nausea rises without cause. Places where compasses spin uselessly and electronics suddenly fail. These are not random occurrences. They are feeding grounds. The presence does not like to be interrupted. When patrols or search parties approach too closely, they feel it a pressure building behind the eyes, a sudden inexplicable dread, a powerful urge to leave. Many turn back without understanding why they felt so compelled to retreat. Those who don't never stay long. The forest protects what it claims. At night, the presence moves differently. Shadows stretch in ways they shouldn't. The sound of footsteps trails behind visitors, matching their pace exactly, then stopping the very moment they do. People report feeling watched, not by eyes, but by an intense, focused attention, as if the forest itself is leaning in closer to listen. This presence does not haunt the living. It harvests the invisible. It gathers the unspoken, the unwanted, the people who believe the world will not even notice their absence. Each one adds more weight to the forest, more density, more memory. That is why some areas feel heavier than others. That is why the silence seems to deepen with every passing year. Authorities eventually placed signs at the forest's edge, once they realized what was happening. They posted messages of hope, phone numbers for help, gentle reminders that life has value. The presence does not interfere with these signs. It doesn't need to. It waits patiently just beyond them. It knows that not everyone will come. It's only waiting for those already leaning toward the quiet, only those who are already listening for something else. And once someone steps far enough inside, the forest itself begins to change around them. Paths blur, landmarks repeat themselves. The world feels smaller, simpler, more contained. The presence doesn't take them. It convinces them that they were never truly held anywhere else. And that is why the forest never gives back what it keeps. Not because it is cruel, but because it is full. Aokigahara still stands beneath Mount Fuji today, beautiful and green. Tourists laugh as they walk along the marked trails. Sunlight filters down through the leaves. Life continues, vibrant and loud, at its edges. But deep inside, where sound dissolves and the ground breathes cold, something ancient remains awake, listening, waiting, learning, and as long as there are people who believe that silence is the same as peace, the forest will never starve. If you or someone you know is going through a difficult time, please remember that help is available and you are not alone. There are resources and people who want to support you. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing for more stories from the shadows. Join me back down the rabbit hole again soon. Don't fall asleep.